So you've decided to take the next step in self-defense and defense of your family and want to buy a firearm. Well, in today's video, I'll help you choose the best one for you. The best gun is not actually the most powerful, but the one you're comfortable with. The worst one is a left it, the one you left at home because it's too uncomfortable to carry. Now, the first step in choosing a firearm is determining your use case. You may want one for hunting or in case the Russians invade. Wolverines! But if this is your first gun, you probably want it for home defense or everyday carry slash EDC, a term you'll hear a lot in the gun community. You may be uncomfortable carrying a gun outside at first, but I want you to think about the fact that most danger is probably going to happen in public than it is at home. So I definitely recommend getting a gun for everyday carry first.
I carry it with me every single day.
Now, first we'll go over the basic firearm types. Handguns, shotguns, and rifle or pistol carbines. These are probably the most likely options people would choose for home defense. Moving on to everyday carry, there really is only one option, the handgun. Now, in some states, you can open carry a rifle, but I don't recommend it. Openly carrying even a pistol by yourself makes you more of a target and results in Karens calling 911 more often than it does deter crime. Pistols are also great for home defense, but they're difficult to shoot for novices due to the snappy recoil. The small size acts like a child getting hit by a linebacker.
And when I'm done, I'm gonna whoop your ass.
The bullet size, not the gun size, determines recoil. So make sure you shoot a handgun first, and if you only want something for home defense, just be warned, there are some larger options that might be a little easier for you. Now, if you do want a handgun, and if you're going to concealed carry, start with testing a compact Glock 19. This is a 9mm, the most common police cartridge, and then go up or down in size from there. Down if you have trouble concealing it comfortably, or up if you have trouble with recoil and accuracy. Once you find your size, start looking at the brands of the same size Glock until you decide what you like. Glock is a great starting point, but there are some others like Smith & Wesson and CZ that are really good. Personally, I carry a Smith & Wesson Shield Plus. Now, for home defense, many people think a shotgun. You know, Joe Biden as president said all you need is a shotgun for home defense. They are easy to operate and they're very powerful. Many hold 5 shells, but one buckshot shell has 8 to 9 pistol-sized projectiles. However, they have high recoil and a large spread, and this is not ideal if your wife is a hostage. Now, my personal favorite for home defense is a carbine. A carbine is a medium-length rifle meant for close quarters. They can be in rifle cartridges, or they can be pistol caliber carbines. Pistol caliber carbines, or PCCs, have low recoil, are easy to shoot since they use small pistol rounds, and some can even use handgun magazines. Notably, the $450 X-Star EP9 uses Glock magazines. Nothing wrong with having a small Glock for carry and an EP9 for home defense. Now, rifle carbines are the most versatile. They have great firepower and accuracy, and AR-15s are actually the most common and easy to use gun in America. They're damaging, but very loud. 3-inch blackout and 5.56 are the two most common calibers used for home defense. 5.56 is super common and cheap, low recoil, versatile, used by hunters and soldiers. So if you have a 9mm handgun and a 5.56 AR-15, you're set for almost everything. 3-inch blackout is a larger sized round, similar to what the AK-47 shoots. It is extremely loud unsuppressed, but almost as quiet as a 9mm when it is suppressed. It's expensive, but super damaging at close range, even with a shorter barrel length than what a 5.56 uses well. Special operators are actually switching to these over submachine guns in the military. However, if you want to go with 3-inch blackout, you are going to have to suppress it. Honestly, if you're going to go with 5.56, you're going to have to suppress it. But if you know for sure that's what you're using it for, 300 might be the best option. There's other videos on the topic, but I just wanted to introduce those. Are probably the only two you want to look at. Now I'm going to introduce a special class of weapons here, the personal defense weapon, or PDW. Real PDWs are military full auto submachine guns chambered in an intermediate round between a pistol and rifle. The goal was to have an armor penetrating round for support troops, notably the P90 and MP7. Now, since we can't have full auto or the armor-penetrating rounds in these calibers, civilians use this term for pistols with special braces to make it easier to shoot. It's like a stock, but not for legal reasons, or extremely small carbines. These are great for home defense or a secondary gun to carry in a bag, your car, or under a coat. But without full auto, most people can shoot their handgun just as well as a semi-automatic version of the P90. However, if you struggle with your carry handgun, or you have a really small one with low range like a 380, and you want the capability to fight a rifle-wielding mass attacker, this fits the niche. But for most people, a rifle and a handgun has you covered. But it is interesting to introduce kind of this idea. So in closing, these are only the most common options. The best gun for you may be different than for someone else. Don't let vocal opinions, especially on YouTube, scare you. Anything under $300 is likely unreliable. Be cautious and do your research. However, there are some $300 police trade-in Glocks that is a pretty good value, but anything else, I'd be a little weary of that. Also, try before you buy. Most gun ranges have countless things for you to rent and determine what's best for you. And even if you don't want to rent and shoot one, at least go let them hand you something behind the counter and manipulate a few different things. See if you can load them properly before you even narrow down enough to shooting. Lastly, just focus on what you can train and be comfortable and confident with. It does you no good to have a shotgun that's the most damaging if you're scared of it because of the recoil, can't shoot with it accurately, and just don't like it. However, if you like the shotgun, then go with the shotgun. So for my final recommendations, for everyone, I'd start with a 9mm handgun for concealed carry, since outside of violence is more likely than a home invasion. Get good with it, and it does work really well for home defense. If you're really proficient with it, it might be all you need. Now, if you want to step up the capability for home defense, I'd suggest a suppressed 5.56 rifle with a 10-inch to 14.5-inch barrel for men. For women, similarly, I'd say get a suppressed PCC, also a 9mm. You could probably go shorter to like 7 inches, but anything shorter than that, you're looking at the same barrel length as a handgun. At that point, you should just stick with the handgun. This would also be great for elderly people that, maybe can't use a larger rifle like they used to or a handgun. I believe women have a duty to protect their family, but men who also have this duty have the duty to protect their community. We are the militia.
I ask, who are the militia? They consist now of the whole people, except for a few public officials. The militia is our ultimate safety. We can have no security without it. The great object is that every man be armed.
After that, you may want a PDW, but it's not necessary in my mind. Just remember, there is no overall best gun, just the one best for your specific needs. Now, for all these options, I'd make sure you have hearing protection, even with these suppressed guns. You don't want to blow up your eardrums and not be able to hear that there's a second or third intruder in the middle of the night. But if you don't have time, definitely want the suppressor. So I hope this helped. Check out our other videos on why you may even want a firearm to begin with, and on other additional self-defense tools and considerations. Even if I don't have a video, there's a playlist on the channel that goes over these topics. Remember, a firearm is just one part of a larger self-defense strategy. Remember not to be scared, but prepared.
Let's lock and load!